This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Pursue Fitness Sportswear, and I'm joined by Anthony Crolla, $1 Million Anthony Crolla. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I've got obviously had the Pursue Pressers, now then the fighters meeting. It's great being in those fighters meetings, listening to the lads, and off to the studios now. So yeah, long day. I mean, getting it in the head though. Punch on the nose for a living might even be easier, but no, I'm really enjoying it.
I know I haven't got you for long, but I just want to touch on that. You mentioned the fighters meetings. What exactly do you go over?
You'll have the lights, you know, and without sounding too much like a fanboy, you know, your Andre Wards, your Tim Bradleys in there asking questions from the fighters, someone who's been there, you know, how camp's been, did you work on this, did you work on that, and it was great listening to all lads, especially the two main event, you know, how they was, and it's very, very good. I remember having it myself in, I started it more recently over here, but over in LA, but before the fight before that, the Dow Jordan fight, and you know, you'll get asked questions about how the camp's gone and stuff, and what you see going after this, and it's just great, it's great.
Taking my job then?
I wasn't asking the questions, I was just listening. It was my first time sort of being in there like that, so I just thought, yeah, I'll just watch and observe.
Well, obviously we're only a couple of days away now from that fight between Vasyl Lomachenko and Loma Campbell. As we've gotten closer to it, what have your thoughts been?
Do you know what? I'm really impressed with Luke. Handled himself very well. Seems in a great mindset, and listening to him speak, and Shane, you know, he seems a very knowledgeable trainer, and they seem in the best place they can possibly be, and I think Luke's got the right mindset for it. I said last night, you know, the Cool and Luke nickname is very, very fitting for him, and he's one of them. There's no denying the task that's, you know, they've got lies ahead, but I believe they've prepared the best they possibly can, and they're in a very good place.
How do you see the fight playing out?
How do you see the fight playing out? You know, being realistically. Sorry, been a long day. Being realistic, I think that Luke will have success. You know, people ask me about it, and me and Luke are totally different. And he said it then actually in the fighters meeting, but I've said it all along. He's much more suited like to have success against Lomachenko, the tools, the southpaw stance, and I think he will have it. And I think he'll box well. I think he'll look to box a little bit like Pedraza. I've said that all along. You know, that fight. I think he'll look for that. But I think listen, the fight itself, I do believe Lomachenko will catch up with Luke. I think around 7-8 rounds, I think they'll look to box off early on, and after 4 or 5 rounds, start having more success, and I reckon they'll target Luke's body a bit. But I'm looking forward to it. He's going to look much the bigger guy in there on Saturday night. But we'll see.
I know it's two different styles between yourself and Luke, but have you had any private conversations? Has Luke reached out just to speak to
him then, and we're just chatting to him then. But we've not, like I said, I've said it in interviews. He said it in the fights. Me and Luke are total opposite. Like Luke, tall, rangy, south, but there's no similarities whatsoever. So it'd be pointless.
Just to whiz through the rest of the cards, sticking to the lightweight division, Joe Cordina versus Gavin Gwynn.
Really looking forward to that. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about Gavin Gwynn, but I've heard good fighter, and he had. I know he beat Myron Mills, who are rate highly, so he's a good fighter. Joe, I think Joe's a class act. A lot of people say he was the most talented out of that 2012 Olympic team. I rate him very highly, so I'm looking forward to that. That's one of the fights I'm really looking forward to, along with the Charlie Edwards fight. I think the Fury Povetkin fight's intriguing. I think it's a great bill. Honestly, I'm not just saying it right down to, you know, your Tennyson, Shafiq's. It's a great bill. Savannah's out. It's a top bill. I've missing out. Now I'm trying to think who missed out. We're on the card. Boatsy, I'm a big Joshua Boatsy fan as well. I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, just to touch on Fury Povetkin, how do you see that one playing out?
Honestly, I think Fury gets the upset, mate. I do. But he's got to establish that jab early. I believe that, and he's got to let Povetkin be chasing the fight. And I think Fury can. The younger man, Povetkin's been around such a long time. Can see himself home on points.
And we just briefly touched on Josh Boatsy there, sticking to the light heavyweight division this past weekend. Sergey Kovalev defeating Anthony Yarde. What was your thoughts on the fight?
I thought he'd give a great account of himself. I thought the 8th round, he was a few shots away from maybe getting Kovalev out of there, but he wasn't he? Buddy McGirt said about mentioning pulling him out. Listen, you got to give Kovalev credit as well. He come back after that 8th round, come back to, you know, get behind his jab. His jab was fantastic. Listen, there's no denying Kovalev is slowing down now. he's been a great champion for a long time. But he's still got that world-class jab. And Anthony had the limited experience that he had. I was rooting for him, but I didn't expect him to do as well as what he did. Every credit.
Andi Ajayi, Anthony's trainers, come in for some criticism since the fight. Do you think that was fair or unwarranted?
Listen, Andi Ajayi has done a great job with Anthony Yarde. To take him from limited experience to give a great account of himself at world level. And it's one of them with Andi, people will say, I've not heard too much in the corner, people was talking about that, but that's their way of getting through things. He's done a great job with him. But obviously, listen, if you're controversial and you're going to make some bold statements, which he did, before that fight, then you're wide open to criticism, and he's got to accept that as well. And listen, I think he does do. If you're going to say controversial, I remember seeing something about whether he meant them or something, comparing something with Andre Ward. And do you remember? If you're going to come out with stuff like that and it doesn't work, then you're open to criticism, and you've got to take it.
Now on Sergey Kovalev, the rumours are mounting now that he will face Canelo next. Yeah. If that was to happen, what are your thoughts on it? I know that Callum Smith, one of your campmates, wants him as well.
I'd love to see Callum with either of them, but I believe Canelo would win that fight now, and I think it's very smart matchmaking. That you think if they would have got that fight before you, I'd like to win a light heavyweight against the Kovalev, who's been an elite fighter, from a guy who's coming up the weights like that, unreal. Very smart man. They know that now's a good time to get Kovalev, and I think that they will. Listen, Kovalev poses. Listen, you got to remember, very very heavy-handed and poses a great jab still, but I just think too fresh. Speed's a big thing. He slowed down, like I say, Kovalev, and I fancy Canelo.
As I say, I know I'm on limited time, but until someone comes and hits me over my head, I'm going to try and keep for as long as I can. But Josh Buatsi versus Yarde, if that fight was to happen, your thoughts on it?
I rate Joshua Buatsi very, very highly, and I would have to lean towards him, but I don't want to. Do you know what I mean? There's with Yarde, he's just come off a great performance, so I just believe Buatsi is one of the best that we've got in British boxing, and that's why I have him. But I don't want to discredit Yarde in any way.
Finally, on yourself, before I do let you shoot, what is going on?
Mate,
what is like?
I think it's going to be November in Manchester. I have no idea about opponent. People have said a few names to me. I'm like, genuinely, I don't know. I'm going to speak to Eddie next week, or I might even speak to him before Saturday. We chatted briefly before, Adam Smith and that, and we'll see.
I spoke to Joe Gallagher and he said that he'd be more than happy to see you retire now because of the injuries that can happen long term, etc. with boxing, and he doesn't want to see you go and win a fight which might lead you to thinking maybe I can have another crack at the title, etc.
I can't go in there hopefully put in a good performance and then think, right, I'll have another few, a run at it. I can't let that happen.
Anthony Crolla, as always, it's been a pleasure. I know you got to shoot. Thanks for
See you later. Thank you, man.